In a garage in New Orleans, design becomes a reality for Curtis motorcycles. Rooted in a history of innovation that produced 1,300 hand-built motorcycles, American V-twins that left the moto world in awe and remain sought-after collectibles today. Curtis motorcycles are designed with purpose and passion.
The goal for this motorcycle was to design the greatest motorcycle that's ever been conceived, designed, and executed. Now, the idea behind this is, yes, we use EV technology, but that's not nearly enough. That's not enough for me. What I wanted to create is the greatest motorcycle that has ever been created that happens to be an EV motorcycle.
A goal designed with purpose and passion.
Man, passion is the only thing that really has value. Right? You can teach somebody how to wire an EV motorcycle. You could teach someone to be an electrical engineer, but you can't teach somebody to have passion. It's the only thing that really matters, that you have to have. That's the only prerequisite, is passion.
Design is thought to start with a sketch, but actually, it started years before.
I've spent my entire adult life thinking about motorcycles and almost nothing else.
It grew in fine art school.
Not only was the idea there, I was actually doing that in art school and turning motorcycles in as sculpture projects. And I would receive a no grade, I would receive an F. So I'd have to go back and then do the so-called sculpture work in addition to the motorcycle stuff that I was turning in that my professors refused to grade.
The design grew from a passion mutually shared for over 25 years.
Matt loves motorcycles just as much as I do. So that's what we're about. We're about making great motorcycles, first and foremost.
What I look for is people that are a lot smarter than me. It's not that hard for me to find them. So that's why I love him so much, because he's so damn smart. And he is into this stuff, but it's more than passion. He's real smart.
You know, Matt's really one of only a handful of people who've ever really cared about what I thought about motorcycles, or cared enough to actually make an investment in me. What an honor. I mean, how many people do you know think that your ideas are so interesting that they're willing to go to the mat to get them funded? That's what Matt Chambers has done. He believed in me.
The design also finds its inspiration in the company's namesake, the revolutionary motorcycle and aviation pioneer, Glenn Hammond Curtis.
If you love motorcycles, your motorcycle heroes really starts with Glenn Curtis. He's the pioneer of American motorcycle hot rod culture.
Because Curtis was not just a genius like Mr. Nesbitt is, but he was also daring like Mr. Nesbitt is. That's why he jumped on that motorcycle, ran 136 miles an hour in 1906, when the guys on Harleys were doing about 30 miles an hour.
136 miles an hour, and became the fastest man on earth. I don't just mean the fastest guy on a motorcycle. I mean the fastest guy, period.
Part of the reason that I was inspired by it is nobody knows that Mr. Curtis was even into motorcycles, because he's famous for what he brought to aviation, for inventing naval aviation. But he's not known as the greatest motorcyclist in the history of our passion.
The Curtis One, designed with passion and purpose, while acknowledging the past. What would Curtis, the internal combustion innovator, think of his signature electric motorcycle?
I think that he would be honored that people over 100 years later would still hold his feats of daring do in such high esteem. He would be very proud of that people would honor him in that way. I mean, it's on the shoulders of giants that I stand.
If Glenn Curtis were here, he invented 120 years of ICE. Well, why don't we bring him back to invent the next chapter in motoring on two wheels?
Chambers is positive that the next chapter, the story electric, is now.
There's absolutely no question that we are entering into a new age of motoring. That's a fact. So in the motorcycle universe, it hasn't happened yet because the one by Curtis had to happen first. The Model S was the motor car that really spawned the sense of people finding out, okay, now I get it. There's going to be a new age of motoring, because the Model S was a highly desirable car that looked cool, and it was electric. And thus began the new era. But now you'll see, Lotus has a 133 coming out. The Polestar 5 is really cool. You see the Lyric from Cadillac, a great electric SUV. The Celestiq, which is the new $300,000 Cadillac, which is kind of the American luxury car version of what the one by Curtis is. But the situation is clear. No one has made a desirable electric motorcycle until that, an honest Curtis motorcycle.
Up next, inside the art and technology of the Curtis One and the zen of EV motorcycle design. When Driven continues.